Hello, everyone. TJ Mendieta here, Director of Expos and Advertising for IFMA. Thank you all for taking the time to join us this afternoon for our training session, How to Optimize Your Virtual Booth, Drive Traffic, and Engage IFMA Virtual Booth Visitors. For those of you who are not able to attend part one of this training series, we do have that session available as a recording, and you can access it from the sponsor and exhibit page of www.facilityfusion.org. You can also send an email to expoadv@ifma.org, and we'll be happy to email the video to you. We do have a lot of information to cover with you all today, so let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to hear from a leading expert on B2B marketing, sales, and exhibiting who has been working alongside exhibitors across all industries for 30 years, offering results-oriented training and guidance on how to position their exhibiting strategy to maximize ROI for their business. Now I'm going to hand it over to exhibiting productivity expert, trainer, speaker, and author, Jefferson Davis.
All right, thank you, TJ. And again, thanks for everyone for being here. I'm super excited to present this content today, which has really been in development, refinement, and improvement now. I first really did a deep dive into virtual back in late April of last year when it became obvious that our industry was going to be locked down for a while and we had to pivot into the virtual arena. My whole frame has always been process-based and results-focused. I'm always trying to, life's too short to recreate the wheel. And so we built this virtual exhibit marketing process, which we told you a little bit about in the first webinar. And I'm excited to say that since launching this, I've been able to train over 2,000 exhibitors now on how to enter into the new and the different virtual exhibiting arena more strategically. So it's my hope today that you'll walk out of here with 2 or 3 good ideas under the area of driving traffic, optimizing your exhibit functionality and content, engaging visitors. So let's go ahead and get rolling on this. One of the big things, a lot of exhibitors have struggled with virtual, right? And, it's easy to kind of blame, the medium or the platform or, the attendees, right? I mean, we can't really blame the attendees. That's our customers, right? The biggest thing that I think when I look back so far over, our industry now being in this virtual thing for a year, is that one of the reasons exhibitors have struggled is they have kind of tried to approach the virtual exhibiting arena with the same perspectives and the same practices that they did in the live arena. And the first thing out of the gate, we talked about this in the first webinar, but if you weren't on, I wanted to come back and revisit this, is the virtual arena is a lot different. And we have to understand how it's different, and we have to respond to these differences if we're going to win in the virtual exhibiting arena. So the first key point of difference is, when people come to IFMA Facility Fusion Live, it's a 2-3 day event. We kind of got them, right? They're in the city. They pretty much go to the hotel. They go to the convention center. They go into the meeting rooms. They go into the exhibit hall. And for those few days, they're a pretty captive audience. That's not the same. That's not true with virtual. With virtual, they're sitting at home. They're logging in. They can log in once, twice, 3 times. They can log in pretty much during the live event hours. They may not even come to the live, but they may only come back and consume content on demand. But we just don't have as much control over how much time an attendee spends. And that makes it so important for you and IFMA, and they're doing everything they can do to build content that is interesting, that is valuable, that is compelling, that drives them and makes them want to hang around. And that the onus falls on all of us too to do that. And the second thing is the distraction level. The good news with the pandemic, the vaccines are being deployed rapidly. And I just read an article in the Wall Street Journal that suggested that we may be getting near herd immunity by late April. But that being said, I listened into an HR webinar that said 48% of North America is still working at home. So the distraction level at home, right, is so much higher. All of a sudden you've got, husbands and wives who maybe both had to go out and now they're home. You got children maybe who are not in schools, right? And the distraction level at home is higher. And even on the computer, with your email. And today people have multiple screens on their computers. Some people have 2, some people have 3 different screens. So the distraction level is high. So we have to really make sure, you, me, IFMA, and everybody, that when we grab their attention, that we're able to hold it for as long as we need to hold it, right? And here's the big insight. I mentioned this in the first time, and please, if you get nothing else out of my opening comments here, lock this into your mind, right? In the virtual world, attendees do not walk up and down a virtual exhibit aisle and just fall into booths at random. That's how it works at the live world, right? When we're at Facility Fusion and you got that big, pretty booth, right? You got that video wall and that motion and that sound, and you have those great graphics, and you've got that proactive, friendly booth staff, right? You can kind of win the game sometimes just by having that super attractive, super compelling booth. Not so much in the virtual world, right? They're not walking up and down the aisles and falling into booths at random. So knowing that, you've got to really change your perspective and your practices, right? The way you look at it and what you do. So here are a few things that are very important. Content marketing, write this phrase down. Content is king. The #1 reason people attend virtual events, write this down, it's so important, is to learn. So your content that you're going to put up, be it videos, be it documents, right? It's got to be educational, not salesy in nature. Now, here's the key. I know a lot of you are here, right? Because you want to market, because you want to generate leads, because you want to sell, and that's fine, right? But the key is in the digital, the virtual arena, you've got to lead with content. You've got to promise them that they're going to learn something that is useful, timely, relevant, and valuable to them, right? So content is king, #1. #2, calendaring. Now, even though the platform we're using, right, it's called Grit, which we're going to show you today, doesn't have a built-in meeting scheduler function, you can still schedule meetings, and you should be scheduling meetings. You can be using your Outlook or your Google or a tool like Calendly, which is a super cool tool. I just started using that last year. It's called Calendly. If you're not using that, it's absolutely amazing. It reduces all the back and forth about time and availability. So calendaring, that phrase, if you haven't heard it, what it means is getting on their calendar and your calendar, right? And so it's an appointment, right? So the more calendared meetings you can get set, the better the chances you're going to win the virtual game. Calendaring is king, okay? Actually, I'll call it this. Content is king, calendaring is queen, okay? And rich media. The way you do your videos, the documents you put up, all of this is going to be so important. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through how to optimize in our first module today, how to optimize the attendee-facing elements of your digital, your virtual exhibit. Okay, now here's one of the first things that I want to say to all of you on this webinar today, especially those of you that have multiple products, multiple services. And I'll lead with this, write this phrase down. Less is more. Don't try to bring it all. Don't try to be everything to everybody. In fact, in the digital arena, if you try to be everything to everybody, you'll end up being nothing to nobody, right? So don't try to bring it all. Go through your products, go through your services, and ask yourself which of those are new or have something new about it, right? Write this phrase down. I'm going to give you a lot of these today, these sticky few word sound bites. New is a magnet. New is a magnet. If you were to ask 100 people in the live exhibiting arena and in the digital arena, why do you visit? What are you looking for? 91 out of 100 would tell you we're looking to see what and who's new. So if you got something new, lead with it and promote it. Promote it, promote it, promote it, right? The second thing is, which of your products or services really speak to a hot, trending, top of the mind issue, problem, challenge, constraint, regulation, right? One thing we know for sure, that COVID has changed everything. And these facilities are under all kinds of new mandates and new challenges. And that's good news. You know why? Because their minds are wide open and they're looking to you, right, to help them. So which of your products and services speak to these new challenges that the audience is facing? Lead with that, right? So if it's new, bring it. If it's hot, trending, top of the mind, bring it. The third area is most companies who have multiple products, services, operate under the Pareto principle, which tells us that 80% of our revenue comes from 20% of our products or services. So of course, you're going to want to reinforce your position on your pillar. Some people call it your bread and butter products and services. So if you're a product service vendor and have multiple solutions, here's the first big takeaway from today. What are you going to lead with? You don't need to bring everything. You can cross-sell anything once you have the visitor engagement. But what are you going to lead with that's going to cut through the noise and going to captivate the attention of your target customer? Okay, key points there. Very important, because I personally have attended now 26 virtual events that I have attended and scouted, and I see too many people trying to jam too much stuff into their virtual booth, and they end up getting lost, right? The human brain rejects clutter. Less is more. You need, best phrase I can give you here is a show stopper, right? Okay. Now, by the way, let me launch a poll here. I want to find out who's with me today with regard to, are you currently contracted? Because we've opened this webinar up to the entire IFMA exhibitor universe, because we want to help everybody. But what I want to find out right here, right now is, are you contracted for Facility Fusion, the virtual edition? Yes. You're still considering, or nah, we plan to set this one out. And I'll give you just a moment to complete the poll. Go ahead. About 50% of you have polled so far. %60%, I'll give you just another moment. If you haven't done it yet, fastest fingers, I'm going to count us down here. On 3, 2, 1, last chance. Here we go. Let me show the results. Okay, so it looks like 42% of you are on board. Thank you. I'm going to give you everything that I've learned to help you win this, okay? And again, we're going to focus on optimizing your virtual platform, driving the right traffic, and engaging. So for those of you who are on board, get that workbook, dial in, focus in, look for at least 1 to 2 specific takeaways under each of these areas. For those of you that are still considering, I hope today will maybe give you the extra knowledge, maybe that little, no play on words here, but that little shot in the arm of confidence that you can and should enter into, this arena. And for those of you who are like, no, we plan to set this one out, I mentioned this in my first webinar, and here's what I want you to think about. And I'm not sure what's causing you to want it set it out. Maybe you've participated in a previous virtual event and it didn't work out. In today's business arena, out of sight really is out of mind. So you might want to ask yourself, I know that there's a little cost involved here. It's way less than a live event. But you may want to ask yourself, what do you stand to gain by not being part of IFMA's facility fusion event? What do you stand to gain? I know one thing you stand to gain. That would be, of course, you'll save the money and the time, right? But what else do you stand to gain, right? Because the thing about the virtual is, because the cost is so much lower, it's also a lot easier to get ROI. It's not hard to get a return on investment in this arena if you do it right. Again, if you see it right and you execute it right. It's not hard to win this game, but you got to do it differently. You can't just do the same stuff you did in live or at your last virtual. And that's why we're here today. That's why TJ, she reached out to me, and she's one of the great show organizers out there who really cares about you as an exhibitor. And she reached out and she said, Jefferson, I want to help I don't want to just throw them into the virtual river without, a paddle or a life jacket. So that's what we're doing today, giving you the paddle and the life jacket, right? So yeah, so hopefully wherever you're at on this spectrum today will increase your confidence and make you feel better about the choice and the action that you're going to take. All right, so by the way, those of you still considering, and those of you who are saying, no, we're going to set this out, and maybe you're reconsidering now, March 26th is your deadline to become part. And the date, let me look at my calendar, that is next Friday. Next Friday. My thought is this: if the facility marketplace is important to your company, I don't know where else you would rather be on these few days, right? I don't know where else you could be, right? So I hope you'll consider joining us. All right, so let's rock and roll, keep moving forward here. All right, so what we're going to talk about now, we're going to move into optimization, right? The first thing that you and me and we as virtual exhibitors, we got to understand the attendee journey. I've already told you the number one reason they attend is to learn, right? So you know that, but you got to understand the journey that they take. Okay, so here's what it looks like. They register with IFMA. They receive a confirmation with a unique login code. They log in, they enter the virtual exhibit hall. Before I show you these images, I want to stress that these are not what IFMA Facility Fusion are going to look like. It's going to look different. But I believe, TJ, this is from another IFMA event that is happening. Is that correct?
Yes, actually, we had World Workplace Europe virtual event yesterday and today, and that's what these images are for.
Okay, good. Thank you for your help on that. Now, keep in mind, Facility Fusion is going to look different, but essentially this flow will be the same. So when they log in, they enter a virtual event lobby like you're seeing right here. And you'll notice that we've got these banners all over the place. The one here that says partner lounges, right? That would be the equivalent to the exhibit hall, which is the way it will look on the Facility Fusion event. Okay, so how they get in there is they'll click on that image or that banner, and that'll take them into the hall. Now, another way they can get in there is you'll see at the top there's a menu bar, right? And there will be a tab there that says Expo Hall or exhibitors, something like that, right? So those are the two ways that they get into the exhibit hall. Okay, now how do they find exhibitors, right? That's the question that we all want to know. Well, exhibitors will be, your company logo will be placed on a page, and it's organized by alphabetical. So the attendee scrolls and then they click on the logo to enter. Okay, so that's when they enter the lobby, how they find the hall. That's how they find you. Now, the more pre-work you do in terms of promoting, which we're going to talk about today, the more traffic you're going to get. But if you just show up, fill out your exhibitor profile, and sit around and wait and hope they find you, I'm just going to call it as it is. You're going to struggle, okay? And we don't want you to struggle, right? We want you to win this game. That's why we're talking about this. Okay, now, when they click on your logo, this is where your virtual booth will appear. Now, let me emphasize, today is not technical platform training. But what I do want you to be aware of is the core functionality of the platform, and I want you to make sure that you have every piece of it optimized. Okay, so TJ, by the way, will Grit be doing some form of a like technical like training session that is platform specific?
Yes, we will be doing a tutorial specifically around the Meet Now feature and some other aspects. I believe April 14th is the date for that. So we'll share that information with all exhibitors when we're ready with it.
Okay, thank you, TJ. Yeah, so April 14th is where Grit is going to do a session, is going to go deeper. You'll have a really good understanding when I'm done here today. More importantly, you're going to know how to optimize your content, right? So this is what your virtual booth looks like. Right at the top here, you've got your company logo. And then number 2, on the right of it, you've got your company description. The way you write that description is critical. And I'm going to show you how to do it and how not to do it, right? Because that may be the single thing that determines whether they watch your videos, whether they download your resources, whether they have a video chat with your staff, or whether they complete the contact us form. So you got to really give that some thought. I'll show you how to do that. You'll have 2 videos. You're going to have to know how to design these videos, right? You can't just, these 2 sample videos just show a picture of a mountain. Chances are, if I clicked on this booth and I saw a picture of the mountain, I'm probably not clicking on that video. Okay, so there's some stuff you got to do with your video, and I'm going to walk you through that. Then your resources, right? You only have 2 resources, right? These are like PDF files. So you're gonna have to be very thoughtful about what you upload, why you upload it, right? And make sure it's optimized. I'll give you some direction there. Your social media links. Of course, one of the great advantages when you get them to your booth is to build your social media community. So, integrating your social media channels and also promoting your participation on your social media channels will be a really smart play for you. The most important element, I think, is the Meet Now video chat, the blue rectangle in the center of the page, the Meet Now. Everything else is like they'll click to watch a video, they'll read your description, they can look at and download your resources. This is the most important thing that you're going to want to have happen. The more of these meetings you can get, the better results you're going to get from the event. And finally, toward the bottom is your contact us form, where the person can submit their name, their email address, their subject, and there's a message. They'll press a button, and then that message is submitted, and it comes to you. So we're going to talk about optimization now. I'm going to show you some of the best things we've learned on how to take this framework here and completely customize it for your customers and for you. All right, so let's keep rolling. And hey, and by the way, your ability to optimize each of these components is going to determine success or struggle. Okay, company description. Now, I've been talking about this for years in the live exhibiting arena, but a lot of exhibitors aren't listening. Many times, one of the first things, even in the live exhibiting world, when they're looking at the mobile app or they're looking at the event directory and they see your company name and your description, they look at that and they go, should I visit or engage with these guys or gals? You got to get this right, okay? You have a 200-word maximum, but don't make it too long, right? Number 2, you got to write this differently than you do for a live exhibition. The primary goal of your company description is to have the visitor read that and go, I got to check these guys and gals out. I got to watch that video. I got to get a meet now as a video Zoom meeting with the staff. I got to download this content. You got to write this different. What you don't want to do is say, since 1991, Competitive Edge has been the industry leader in exhibitor productivity, blah, blah, blah. They're gone, right? They're gone. So here's what I want you to think about. What specific problems are your customers experiencing that you can help them solve? What might they want to learn about? Remember, they're coming to learn. Hey, you're the subject matter expert. You're the teacher. They're not experts in what you do. What can you teach them that's going to make them go, I got to go, man, I got to engage with this booth. Start your company description with a question. Questions, I call them the crowbar to the mind. Questions, the human brain has a hard time resisting a question. Even if they don't answer the question out loud verbally, they answer it in their mind. So, are you struggling with this? Are you concerned about that? Would you like to learn how to save, gain, avoid, do this or that, right? So what I want you to work on is your hook, your question, right? How are you going to lead your description? Don't think about your products. Don't think about your services. Think about your customers. Think about their pain points. Think about the transformation that you're trying to deliver for your customers. That's what you lead with. And it's best when you do it in the form of a question. Now, in your description, again, new, remember, if you have anything new, emphasize it. If there's some form of show special, if you're doing giveaway or contest, fold it into your description. Keep it brief, but fold it in. And finally, tell them exactly what you want them to do after they read your description. So this is what I might say. Now, watch our brief video about this, and then click the Meet Now meeting, click the Meet Now button to chat with our technical experts, right? So here's your first assignment. I want you to take your time and write a sizzling company description. And in fact, TJ, I'm going to do something unique here for your exhibitors that I haven't done for a while. The first 5 exhibitors on this webinar today that will write their company description using the, don't send me the one that you copied and paste, right, that you used to use. I want you to take a swing at hook, story, call to action. That's the flow. Hook, story, call to action. 200 words max. If you will write and email that to me, I will review it at no charge, no sales pitch, no nothing, and I'll give you my feedback on it. And I'm putting my email address in your chat right now, jefferson@tradeshowturnaround.com. So first 5 companies who write their company description, email it to me. I will review it and give you some feedback on it. We're trying to help you win this game. You got to get this part, because by the way, this company description can show up in other places too. Okay, let's keep rolling. Now, here's an example. And by the way, this is a real world example off of a event that I attended. What's the problem with this description when you look at it? What are you seeing? Somebody go to your chat right now. Open your question queue. What do you think's wrong with this description? Fastest fingers. This way I know you're engaged. You're listening to me. Go right now. What do you think is wrong with this description? Let me see your answers. What is it? What is their email address? And I can't see the chat. That's good. Lindsay, too long. Good. What else? What else see wrong with this? Run together copy. It's, man, that's a lot of copy to try to consume in one glance. How many of you look at that description right there and feel overload? Probably most of you. Kate, thank you. The action isn't strong. In fact, I don't even see a call to action in this. Great, good feedback. Thank you. So how would you rewrite this? Here we go. Let's take a swing. This is how I would rewrite it. The hook. Can you imagine having your data 100% secure in the cloud? Now, that's like the promise. But I could also flip that around and go, how secure do you feel your cloud data is today? There's a lot of different ways I could write that, but the key is using the question and either the problem or the promise. The promise here is what? 100% secure data. But the question, right? They might go, yeah, man, I have a little worry. With Extra Hop, you can. Watch our informative videos, video chat with our experts, download our resource, complete the contact form to contact us form to learn more. Why? See, I already hit my hook, my promise, my call to action, and then I gave them a little why, and then I came back and reiterated my, we help you do this, learn more now. Okay? So I'm looking forward, 5 of you, the first 5 of you that complete and send that back to me, I want to see your descriptions. Okay? All right, let's keep rolling. Video. Video is really powerful. I actually just saw a white paper that said 39% of C-level executives prefer video as their primary method to evaluate potential partners. 39% of C-level executives. So we got to get your video right. Now, so what you're doing here is you're creating your video and you're going to upload it to Vimeo or YouTube. And then you're going to put the link into your platform. You're going to embed the code, right? And when people select the video, it doesn't take them out of the platform to YouTube. It plays in your page. That's important to know, and that's a good thing, right? Because if they go out to YouTube and then all of a sudden, who knows where they end up? Maybe they end up watching music videos or something. I don't know, right? So it plays in your page. Key point. This video should give them just enough information to make them want to learn more. You know, tell your whole story and engage with your staff and your content. Okay. So what are you going to do with these videos? You only have 2. So, right, you're going to have 2 videos here. What are you going to do? Problem agitation solution. That's one of my, that by the way is the B2B marketing. It's the equivalent of a silver bullet. It is the most powerful copywriting sequence for B2B marketers. State the problem, agitate it up with how it's impacting their operations, and position engaging with you and your content as a way to solve the problem. Maybe you're going to do a cool products or a service, a sizzle reel. Maybe you're actually going to do a demo. You know, your top one might be your problem agitation solution. Your second video might be a product demo. People say you can't demo your products in a virtual world. Yes, you can. They can't touch it, but that doesn't mean you can't do a video demo, right? Maybe you're going to teach them something. Maybe that second video is learn the 3 biggest mistakes that facilities are making with regard to COVID safety right now, right? Maybe you're going to have customer interviews. Maybe it's a tour of your facility. Maybe it's meeting your team. I don't know what it is, but when you decide who your target visitor is, what your solution is, what your promise or transformation is, right? Then you can pick what 2 videos are going to make the most sense for you. Now, let me give you some best practices, how to optimize that video. Okay, number 1, keep it short, 3 to 7 minutes, right? And have that video length on the title screen if you can. People are very leery about clicking a video when they don't know how long it is. Let me ask you, have you ever clicked on a video that you didn't see the length, and all of a sudden you look down and you went, oh my goodness, this is a 57-minute video? You're probably not going to watch it all, certainly not right now, right? So get that length. But here's the other thing too. And let me ask you in the form of a question. Would you go into a movie theater and watch a movie that you didn't know the title of the movie? That's a good question, isn't it? You'd be amazed at how many virtual exhibitors put these videos up with no title on the video. You got to have a compelling title. It should be in copy and it should be visible, because the person has to click to play these videos. They don't auto run. So put a compelling title on the video and have the length of the video right on the title screen. Hey, if you do these 2 things, you're in the top 10% of virtual exhibitors right now. Now, when you get into the video content, don't just have a talking head. There's a face talking and they're hearing the words. Subtitles and captions, very important. That way they're processing not just auditorily, but visually. Confucius said it well. I hear and I think, I see and I remember, I do and I know, right? So subtitles and captions. Now, I am a big believer in having people in a video. I'm not talking about a talking head, but for example, if I have some form of a instrument or a device or a handheld piece of equipment, and I just had it statically setting there and I had the captions running, it would do some, but if I had it in someone's hand and I could see someone's face once in a while, having people in your videos will increase how long they stay with. At the end of the day, people are people watchers, right? Next, so important. Don't assume the visitor knows what they should do next after watching the video. Right at the end, verbally and in caption or subtitles. Now that you've watched our first video here, click on our Meet Now and talk to John Smith, who is our technical expert on this product. Tell them exactly what you want them to do next. And the formula that I mentioned before for scripting your video is the hook, title it well, grab me in those first few moments, take the first few moments of the video to talk about the problem and how it's impacting their operations and their employees and their revenue. The story is kind of like what we do, right? How we can help you, what you're going to learn. And then the close is here's what to do next. Okay. So gave you a lot here on building your video. Now, again, video next to your Zoom meeting, video is your second most important element that you've got to get right. So, and by the way, your video doesn't have to be like Hollywood broadcast production. I would go more for substance over style. Good content. That's what people want right now. People want quality information. They want useful, relevant, how-to information. That's what you want to deliver in your video. Okay. Now, if you're going to demo a product or a service, which I think is a really good use of one of your videos, I want to walk you through a process on how to think through and design that video demo. Okay, so number one, what solution are you going to feature? What would be most useful, timely, relevant, hot, new? Number two, clearly define the target customer. Who are you trying to reach? Who is your ideal customer? How do they use this product or service? What is the application? This one's big. What situations might be happening in their facility that would make them think about what you do, that would create interest or create a need? These customer situations, right? Step back from your product service. Identify your top 3 features and benefits. Messages, top 3 things. No more than 3. That's it. 3. You've only got time for 3. And then I want you to ask yourself, as you identify a feature benefit about your product service, what customer need does that address? Ideally, one of these messages will differentiate your product or service. When you find your differentiator, tie it back to what customer need does it address. Okay, so this was sit down with your product managers, your marketing team, and your sales team, and take your solution and work it through this process. Okay, next, the benefit-focused title. 3 ways to ensure that 100% of the people that walk into your facility are safe, right? Something like that, right? Oh, I got to watch this movie, right? I got to see this movie, the title, right? Start the demo with a clear description, maybe even a reenactment of the problem. Lead off, right? Hook them in with the problem. Remember problem agitation in your formula? Describe the gain, the save, or what they'll avoid. All right, this is where we're getting them to see the benefit. Okay, here's the problem, and here's what you're going to learn. Here's what you're going to gain. Here's what you're going to save. Right? Then get into the demo. Show those top 3 in order. And I would use the law of recency. I would put my differentiated feature and benefit message first in case they tune out, right? In case they tune out. So I would put it first. Then have those captions in there. Don't just show a product. Don't just let them see a face or a talking head or a voice. Get those captions going, right? And then close that video verbally and caption wise. Now that you've watched our video, here's the next thing to do, right? So there you go. Good process, 12 steps, right? Gather your team, block off some time, but you got to move quick on this. It's time to get rolling. All right, let's talk about your document. Hey, and by the way, I know I'm throwing a lot at you quickly. We are recording this event. You do have a workbook. You'll be able to access the replay. You can show it to your team. You can watch it one piece at a time. You can grab the replay bar and scroll it and go to wherever you want, forward, backward, whatever, right? So let's talk about your documents. You only got 2, right? You only got 2. So you're going to have to, as Pat Benatar song, hit me with your best shot, right? You're going to have to give me your best here. So what should you be uploading? Is it product service brochures, white papers, case studies? Do you have some form of a checklist or a how-to type thing? Is there an article that you wrote that was super good that would build upon the topic? Is there media or press releases, testimonials? I don't know. There's so much you could upload, but you only get to upload 2. Here's what I think are 2 best practices for documents. Number 1, that first document should be that 1-page quick overview that explains who you are and who you serve, what your product services are, key, your promise, your value proposition, what you're trying to help the customer gain, save, or avoid, your unique selling proposition, what makes you unique, different, and better, and how to contact you. And that's your 1-page kind of high-level overview. Now, here's a very interesting document here, and I don't know if you've ever thought of this, but this one might be a good fit for some of you. When a customer looks into your type of product or service, what are the primary questions that they should be asking themselves so that they can make a well-informed decision, right? People are very fearful of making the wrong choice. If you'll position yourself as a co-buyer, not a seller, co-buyer, and help them through the evaluation process by organizing the criteria, the questions in the natural flow, you will gain tremendous goodwill. In fact, you're going to stand out from the competition. In fact, if you get your key point of differentiation as one of the criteria, you're going to win the lion's share of deals, okay? I would make this document 3 columns. First, on the left, I would have the questions in the natural flow. In column 1, I would have your company name and your answers to all the questions. Then I would fill in those answers in that first column, and I would leave the other 2 blank. Now, if you know your competition really well, and you know enough to fill it in for them, here's how we stack up. But to me, I like the idea of you having yours filled in and kind of letting the buyer, because sometimes they may or may not agree with or believe what you said. So for me, I've used this document many times, and every time I've used it, I've won the deal. I've never lost a deal where I've used this document. So interesting thought, right? Interesting. Be a co-buyer. Help the buyer make a well-informed, safe, smart decision that is in the best interest of them, whether they do business with you or not, right? It's a really powerful place to be. All right, let's talk about your Zoom. This is the interactivity, right? They can watch the video, they read your company description, they watch your video, they can open your PDFs, download your documents, right? That's not really super interactive. What you ultimately want, like a live trade show, is you want to put a face with a face, right? And so Grit is offering you the ability at a click of a button to have a Zoom room where video chats can occur. So this is an open Zoom room. So meaning that, let's say you and me are in here talking. Someone else can enter into that room while we're in conversation, which we're going to need a little workaround for that. So you have the ability, and also you can have multiple reps from your team in that room at once, right? So what you're going to want to do is have somebody be a host that welcomes people, and then you're going to want to clearly define who is in the room, what their purpose is, what their knowledge, what their function is, right? And you have the ability in here to take visitors into breakout rooms for private conversations, which you're probably going to want to do, of course, once you get the dialogue moving. Okay. I would encourage you to try to get as many preset meetings as possible. And I would use like a tool like Calendly or maybe Outlook or Google or whatever you use to manage your appointments to try to get these meetings preset, right? That way you can have the right people online at the right time. Make sure that your staff is prepared. You know, now with Zoom, you're probably all prepared. Good lighting, good audio. You know, what are you going to do for your background? How do you want them to dress? Make sure you got all that figured out. Smile. Be enthusiastic. Be upbeat, right? Be energetic. That's what people want right now. You know, we've heard so much negative stuff for so long. Be that ray of sunshine in somebody's world today, right? Spend those first few moments when people enter. Don't jump in and start talking about you and your products and your services. As Stephen Covey said, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Who is this person? Why are they visiting? Why are they here? How are they familiar with you? What problems, what projects are they working on? What are their concerns, challenges, goals? What do they want to learn from this time together with you? Questions. Write this phrase down. It's not what you tell, it's what you ask, right? And when you're asking questions that are about the person, that's when you're going to build rapport and trust and understanding. Here's a great phrase, write it down. Be interested, not interesting. Not at first, right? People's most important subject in the world is what? It's themselves, right? It's not you, it's not me, it's not our products, it's not our company, it's themselves. So if you'll spend those first few moments of the interaction seeking first to understand, then you can pull the interested qualified ones into the breakout rooms for those deeper one-to-one conversations. What you're looking for is a problem that you can help them solve or an opportunity that you can help them seize. That's really all you're trying to do in your virtual exhibit. A meeting of the minds, a problem to solve, an opportunity to seize, and a commitment to explore that together after the event. You don't have to do it all in the event, right? The event is where you can make, just like a trade show, same thing, right? They enter your booth, the meeting of the minds, you know, yes, the conversation is going to be continued. When, where, and who, right? That's what you're trying to do. So try to get that agreement. What happens next with each visitor and get clarity on what the next step is. If you want to write a metric down that you should be tracking, how many meet nows did you have? And how many of those did you discover a problem or opportunity? And how many of those did you get an agreement from the visitor to take a next action? That's how you win the game. All right, I got to catch my breath. That was a lot, and we're only a third of the way through, but I'll crank it up in these next two because we have more visuals on this one. But this might be a good chance for you to catch your breath here, think about everything we talked about, think about what questions you might have about the virtual booth, the attendee journey, optimizing your assets, and go to your question tab and submit. Okay, and submit. Because we're tracking a little behind time-wise, questions are coming in. I'm not going to answer those right now. And if by whatever reason you log off, we will try to follow up with you. And we will follow up with you by email to make sure your question gets answered. Okay, so let's jump into our next. We got a lot of ground to cover here. I talked about this. I'm going to hit it again because now we're in the module of driving traffic. People don't walk up and down the virtual aisles and fall into booths at random. I can say that 100 times because if you want to win the game, you know what this means. You've got to get in the mind, on the agenda of the right people. You can't just hope that it's going to happen, right? So the virtual event success strategy is win the game before kickoff. You don't need a ton of visitors. You don't need 100, 300, 500 visitors. For most of you, honestly, if you could have 10 to 25 good quality interactions, you would have a highly productive virtual experience. You don't need a lot. Don't get out of the numbers. It's not like live. It doesn't matter if there's 500 attendees or 5,000 or 20,000. You can't handle that many anyway, right? But what you do need to try to do is get in the mind on the agenda of enough of the right people before the event opens. That's what I mean by winning the game before kickoff. So let's talk about marketing your virtual booth. Number one, it's not a maybe. It's not a, oh, I'd like to if I had time or money. I'm telling you, if you want to win the virtual game, it's an absolute must do. Because the cost to execute a virtual exhibit is so much lower than a live event, I'm going to encourage you to, whatever you're investing in the virtual booth space, double that and spend that part on promoting and driving traffic, right? Tight list of high value target visitors is key, right? You want to sit down and ask yourself, who are the 10, 25, 50 most important people that if I could get 5 to 10 minutes with them during the facility fusion, it would make the entire event worth our while, right? And you got to come up with your value proposition. You know, you've got to give them that big reason why. You can't just say, hey, John, going to facility fusion, drop by our booth for 5 minutes. I'd love to chat with you. Well, there's about 100 other exhibitors that would love to chat with them too. You know what John's going to be asking if he doesn't already have a relationship with you? Why, right? And it's incumbent upon you to answer the why. So what's the problem? What's the challenge? What can you help him with? What's something you can teach John that's going to add value to his business, his facility, his job, his career? What's he or she, what are you going to gain? What are they going to save? What are they going to achieve? What are they going to avoid? Right? The value proposition is everything. Write this phrase down, WIIFM, WIIFM. It's a radio station. It's 95.1 on the dial. And the name of that station is What's in It for Me? The onus is on you to answer that question. If you want me or John or Mary or TJ at your virtual booth, you got to give us a reason why, right? Now you can hope that I have a reason. You can hope that I find you, but another key phrase, hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy, right? So put your sales team to work, right? Work your warm circle. Encourage people to register for the event. Encourage them to come consume your content. Encourage them to schedule meetings with you, right? Start with your customers. You're already doing business with them. Maybe you haven't seen them in months. You probably haven't with COVID, right? Maybe there's a cross-sell and upsell opportunity. Maybe it's just about time of possession. Maybe it's about keeping them away from your competition. How about prospects that are in your sales pipeline? Ask your sales team, who are you currently in dialogue with, and how can we use the energy and the excitement and the platform during facility fusion to move them one step closer? Put your sales team, your dealers, your distributors to work. Anybody that's inquired about your product services over the last 3, 6, 9, 12 months, visited your website, downloaded documents, visited your booth at previous trade shows, your social media, your LinkedIn connections, your Facebook group, your LinkedIn group members. Work all of these stuff, right? Let them know you're going to be here. Give them a reason to register. Give them a reason to show up. Give them a reason to come see you. Everybody wins when somebody promotes. Now, one of the ways that IFMA is going to help you is that they are going to provide you with the registered attendee mailing list before the show and after the show. Now, due to like GDPR and the Can Spam Act, they can't give you the email addresses, phone numbers. You capture that when they visit on your contact us or in your conversation, right? But having the mailing list is powerful. You want to know the most underutilized marketing media in business today? It's mail, right? What a great time to get back in the mailbox. I've been grabbing mailers that have been coming to me recently that direct mail works. And you don't have to send thousands. You might not even have to send hundreds. An oversized postcard, 5.5 by 8.5, with the show logo, a clear value proposition. Give us 5 minutes. You'll see, you'll do, you'll learn, and you'll get, right? What a great thing to do, right? Mail. Okay, next, your lists. Start internally. You already have lists, right? Segment customers, prospects, new contacts, potential opportunities. Make sure your messaging, of course, is uniquely designed for each segment. Listen carefully, write this down. The sweet spot on registration for virtual events from the attendee side is 2 to 3 weeks before the event. And they really don't start planning their agenda. What are they going to do during the virtual event until 5 to 7 days before the event? So you're in a perfect time slot here to win this game, right? So you should start your marketing about 2 to 3 weeks before the event. Okay. Email, social media, web landing pages, and please put direct mail in there, especially since you get the mailing list, right? Mail. Hey, you want to know where the clutter is? You already know where it is. I do too. Where? It's in your email box. Average business person gets 188 emails a day today. I'm not saying don't use email, but I am saying don't try to win the race with a one-legged horse. That's not going to work, right? Social media, get on LinkedIn, use LinkedIn, man. LinkedIn's very powerful. Set up landing pages specifically for the event. If you have phone numbers, pick up the phone and dial for dollars, right? Try to land 3 direct touches between now and go time, ideally through multiple media. LinkedIn, mail, telephone. LinkedIn, mail, email, right? 3 touch points, clear value proposition, clear call to action, maybe a reward for responding. Hey, book a Zoom now meeting with one of our technical experts and we'll give or send you this or that, right? You got to give them that reason. What are they going to see? What are they going to learn? What are they going to do? What are they going to get, right? Clear, compelling reason to attend the event and visit your virtual booth. Okay,
Hey,
so let me
Jefferson,
show you some.
can I pipe in real quick?
Oh, of course, TJ, fire away.
Going back to the mailing list and, getting that message out 2 to 3 weeks prior to potential attendees, or at least in our case, the registered attendees that we'll be distributing. One thing to consider is there is so much mail marketing hitting mailboxes, even though it has been decreased and email has gone up tremendously. But something that I know noticed or captures my attention would be like a personal note. So if you're taking the mail list and maybe you're dividing it by territory amongst your sales reps, and they can reach out to people within their region with a personal note, just a little thank you note card type thing that, hey, blah, 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 I'd love to set up a time with you at Fusion, the invite that way, as opposed to a expensive 4-color mailer or postcard. I think personal notes are underused.
Yeah, good point, TJ. You're right. Personalization, show me you know me, and stand out from the crowd. Yeah, that's really, really great advice there. I appreciate that. And feel free to chime in as we go along. I know we got 25 minutes to go. We're digging into part 2 and we'll get to part 3 here, but let me keep rocking. So here's a LinkedIn example that I don't think was very well done, right? There's no message. Look, hey, Joe, on these dates, We're going to be a new virtual experience and we'll be part of it. Let's connect to understand how we could collaborate. I don't know what that means, do you? I don't see any clear message. I don't see any benefit. I don't see any differentiator. There's no company name here. There's actually a typo. And this is all about them. It's not about me. This would be an example of what not to do. Okay. So let me jump over and show you maybe some example of what to do. Now, this was a company promoting in that same event. They used LinkedIn. They had a huge number of connections, and they used Twitter. But notice the strategies here. Unsafe working conditions affect workers' health and productivity. Call out the problem. If they're experiencing the problem, you've got them. Communicate your brand position. Look, we've pivoted from service delivery automation to workflow workhorse for business. Your brand positioning. Share research. Everybody wants to know the latest, greatest research. Right? 5 years of key HR trends, right, are going to be, watch this, right? So this type of approach with that. Now, email. This was a really cool example where they actually gave you the visual of what their booth was going to look like. It was well branded. That image is what their virtual booth was going to look like. They actually had avatars, people, which humanized it a little bit. They had a benefit, right? A great employee experience, and there was a clear call to action button. See that? Meet with us. Okay. Then they followed it up, right? Empower your HR success, right? It's a little high level for me. It's a little broad, right? But you know, at least they were trying to communicate a benefit. The branding, the look, the feel, the account. Hey, look, I'll see you at the HR Tech Conference location, the comfort of your home, right? When you click through, check out what happened here. They kind of had a listing. Come join us at the conference. The event's going to be held here. Look, they had the daily live demo presentations. They had a theater presentation they were promoting. What I would have done is I would have boldfaced the key dates and times, and I would have inserted a calendaring link to enable them to schedule these, put these two things on their calendars. That's how I would have made this message even better. Check this out. When you click that meet with us, what happened? It took you to this image where it had a timer, right? You saw the visual preview of the booth, had a countdown timer. The event starts in 1 day, 3 hours. You could click and schedule meetings. Look, see the little tab on the top left? You could meet our staff and you could contact us, right? And so here's an example of how they used email to really kind of bring visual communication into their campaign. Now, here's a landing page example, okay? So this company was exhibiting at that same conference, HR Technology Conference and Expo, right? And then they had they had clear branding throughout. Request a demo. Check out the call to action on first one, request a demo. They literally went for their most important call to action right out of the gate. And then they had their sessions listed here. Look, ideas for a changing world. Add it to your calendar. Look, they had calendaring built in. Learn together, the Workday group demo. Add to calendar. Had a chat bot on there, right? And there's a company out there, the name is slipping me right now, that if you're not using chatbots, it's free. And you can load it to your landing pages for free, and you'll have that chatbot, which will ping you, and you can actually chat to people. Okay, so landing pages, web pages are pretty, landing pages convert, right? So think about building a landing page. There's so many sources. I use one called Lead Pages, L-E-A-D Pages. Real simple to set up a landing page. I can create a landing page in less than an hour and have a complete function calendaring, and I can even build e-commerce into it in less than an hour, okay? Next, this is a really cool point here. I want you to review the schedule of events for IFMA Facility Fusion. I want you to look specifically at sessions that the topic relates to what you do. Promote that session, even if you're not presenting it. Say, hey, go check out this session and learn more. And after you're done there, come on over to our booth, right? Come on over, let the learning continue with us, right? You might even put a reward or a contest in play. Hey, drop by our booth for a chance to win this or that. Attend the session. Now, you won't have any way of knowing that they attended the session short of asking them, but you could put a reward or a contest. And if you're really going for a high level appointments scheduling, offer a little higher level reward. You know, something that would, a pen and pencil set with their name on it. Say, hey, pencil us in for 5 minutes while you're at Facility Fusion. You want to really blow their mind, send them the box up front with the pen and pencil set, have the pencil in it, keep the pen. Say, when you schedule and complete your meeting with us, we'll send you the pen. Now, again, do you think they're going to come primarily for the pen? I hope not. But I tell you what it will do, it'll add a lot of power to your offer, right? A lot of power, okay? So another point, because you get 2 full conference registrations, you should review the session topics and figure out which ones you should be attending and be active in the attendee chat section. Now, you don't want to go in there and like be over the top spammy, but add to the conversation, ask questions about it, dangle things they can learn to come over by visiting your booth after the session. Don't try to pull them out of the session while they're in there. Some resources available to you from IFMA is you've got individual exhibitor drawings, the contest, right? The deadline is March 24th. I would really encourage everybody that's going to do this online, put something together, some form of a contest or reward. And I think something people are going to be craving to do over the next 3 to 6 months is those little weekend getaways, air and hotel for 2. Not right now, but as this pandemic winds down, we have all been sheltered down, and I think the airlines and the resorts are going to fill up super fast here. We're all ready to go somewhere. I don't know about you, but I am. That pre and post show attendee list we talked about, the graphics that are available to you. You can see these buttons. You should be including these in all your digital marketing, in all your social media posts. Put them in your email signature. Put them everywhere. You've got the post-show email. We have 2 of those left. So if you want to have a post-show email sent to all event attendees on your behalf, take a look at that. That's a good play. And the Expo scavenger hunt, 8 of those are left. I think that is a super, super smart use of $750, right? It's because the attendee is going to go visit 10 digital booths. You'll be on that list. 8 of those are left. And by the way, deadline, that's as of March 17th today. So any questions that you have about these, email expo-adv, XPO-ADV at ifma.org. Okay. All right. Let me catch my breath for the stretch run here. Now, what did we just say? You can't just show up and hope they find you. You got to drive traffic, right? Talked about building a tight list of must-see visitors, starting with your house list, using the IFMA pre-registered attendee list, a good value proposition, using multiple media, right? Get in their mind, get on their agenda, leveraging the educational sessions, right? Getting a contest, a giveaway, or a prize in play to help drive more traffic. These are all good, smart, safe, proven ideas. So the question is, what did you learn from this module and what are you going to do, right? Because you know now you can't just show up and hope. Now, fire away with your questions on that topic. I'm going to knock out this last part and then I'm going to open the question queue wide open. So let's roll. Your people, you get 2 full conference registrations are included. Take full advantage of those. Hey, there's a lot to learn. That's where the customers are going to be. Make sure you feature in your promotions, you feature that you're going to have your technical experts. You're going to have your product managers available and they're accessible. They're in the Meet Now Zoom room waiting for your most challenging questions. Bring your questions. We got our best thinkers ready, willing, and able to answer, and we're here for you. Make sure your staff are scheduled during the active event hours. Wednesday, the 21st of April, Thursday, the 22nd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Make sure that you've got it covered. Now, obviously, I think you want to rotate your staff. I don't know that you want to have any one, unless you're the only one in your company, then you have to. But, maybe do it in 3-hour shifts. The A team does 10 to 1 and the B team does 1 to 4, and then rotate it off on day 2, right? Now, your platform is accessible on demand. So this event doesn't have to end when the live days close. You can be driving traffic all the way through May 21st, right? I would consider during those open hours, pick maybe one time slot per day. Maybe it's a 45-minute window where you're going to have your senior level executives available for one-to-one, or one-to-many Zoom room meetings, and promote that, right? Everybody wants to talk to the boss, the chief, the CEO, the CMO, the CFO, the CIO, the whatever C, right? So think about that in terms of staffing. Your Zoom room now, we hit some of that. What I would do is give all of my staff that's going to be in the Zoom room a list of seek to understand questions. And I would script out key messaging around our company story and the product services we're featuring. I don't want people winging it in there, right? When you conduct those Zoom room meetings, what I would say is don't expect a ton of video meetings with brand new contacts. I think the better your value proposition, I think the better your outreach. You can get more, but I would say don't expect to come in and have hundreds and hundreds of these video meetings. Honest, like I said before, for most of you, you can get 10, 25, 50 good quality interactions. The whole event will work for you. Remember, when you're in that Zoom room, visitors can join in. So TJ and I are having, we're in the Zoom room and we're talking, Michael comes in. I think it's important that you have one person to be assigned as the host. As new people enter, acknowledge them. Hi, John, thanks for joining our Zoom room. What were you hoping to learn about? Who can I put you with, right? Make sure your staff looks and dresses the part, all of that. Here's another little key that I like. When I'm on a internet web-based meeting, I like to always ask for a phone number, ideally the cell phone number. And I'll kind of just say, hey, John, in case we happen to lose our internet connection, what's the best number I can reach you at to continue the conversation? And this is also a little bit more of a lead capture too, right? You can schedule meetings through your CRM system or an external tool. Again, the Grit platform doesn't have built-in capability to manage meetings within the platform. But don't let that deter you. You can totally do that through your tools. And I'm a big believer when you pre-schedule meetings, have an agenda. Ask yourself, what is the outcome? What will make this a successful meeting? What is the outcome? And what do we need to cover? And try to share that with your people in advance. That shows professionalism, preparation, and respect for their time. Okay, next. Let's get your staff ready. Your staff's got to be ready with the right product knowledge in a rapid fire, especially a live interactive world. So what products are you featuring, right? What are those benefits? What's a differentiated one? What are the customer needs? Here's a key one. For your core feature and benefits, write open-ended questions around the need and get the visitor to voice the need before you start talking solutions, right? Make sure that your virtual booth staff are trained to ask need-based questions and they're able to quickly and effectively present your product information, right? Here's another best practice, FAQ list. What are the top 5 questions you get asked about your company over and over and over again? Script them out, spoon feed the answers to your team. Analyze your solutions. What are the top questions that you typically get hit with? Script them out, spoon feed them to your team, right? That way everybody's consistent, right? You can make these concise and you can build some selling power, some persuasiveness into your answers, right? Virtual attendee engagement. Be ready to respond quick. Someone logs in that Zoom room and nobody's in there on your end, they're going to log out. acknowledge them when they enter the room. Even if there are 2 or 3 people in and you've got a conversation, this is where your host can come in and acknowledge that visitor. And when you get those contact us submissions, and people fill out that bottom part of your page there, respond fast. First responders win the majority of deals. When you're in these dialogues, show respect for their time, show respect for their knowledge. Ask them, how are you familiar with? What do you already know? These are great ways to get the visitor to tell you their, where you need to go with your topic. How are you familiar with? What do you already know? Keep it brief, but meet their information needs. Ask them, what would you like to learn, in the short time we have together today? What are the most important things I can share with you? Don't assume you know what people need to learn. Ask them. Always collaborate on a next step. So John, based on what you've heard, does it sound like this might be willing to learn a little bit more about? He goes, you bet. Talk about, get them to collaborate. What do you think our next step should be? When would that happen? Who else would need to be involved? How do you want to do that? Is it a phone call? Is it a follow-up Zoom meeting? Is it maybe it's an in-person meeting, with mask and social distancing? Ask visitors to complete the contact us form, because this gives you another way to capture visitor information, because it's not automatically captured when they click on your page. It's important to understand here, it's not automatically captured. So you got to make sure that you engage and capture. You can capture it through the Zoom meeting and capture it on the contact us form, and follow up quickly with everybody. Speaking of lead capture, let me go there. So here are the different ways you'll be able to capture leads in your platform. They visit your booth, they complete the contact us form, they have a Zoom meeting with you. Okay, in that situation, then you're going to get the name, title, company name, address, phone, and email. Okay. A week after the show, IFMA is going to send you a full contact list of everybody who clicked into your booth up to that point. After the on-demand version of the conference on May 21st, IFMA is going to send you another list of those people who visited during the non-live hours. Okay, and TJ, I think I may have misspoke there a moment ago, where I said the visitor information is not auto-captured. So when someone clicks on the booth, there is some basic information auto-captured, right?
Correct. When somebody clicks on their booth, at that point, they become a booth visitor, and we'll include their full contact information on those lists that we'll be sharing. So
Excellent.
That's how it's captured. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so I apologize on that, everybody. I said a moment, it wasn't auto-captured. It was. I do a lot of virtuals on a lot of different platforms, and sometimes my head gets swimming, but it is auto-captured. So get them to your booth, right? Name, title, company name, address, phone, and email. Get them to your booth, okay? So here's another pro tip. Think about what additional information beyond what name, title, company, address, phone, and email, what additional information would be useful for you to capture? And think about, how are you going to capture that? So you might have, for your Zoom meetings, you might give your team some form of an electronic or a paper form where they can ask questions and capture. You might create an external landing page that has a form where you can capture additional background qualifying information. But try to get as much information from each visitor as you can, beyond just what is auto-captured, okay? Following up with your leads, this is pretty straightforward. Import them into your CRM, tag them, right, or source them, IFMA Facility Fusion. If they're already in your CRM, log a activity record. John visited our virtual booth at IFMA Facility Fusion. He talked with Michael about this problem, whatever, capture. Define your various follow-up. What happens next when you're talking? What do you want to do next? Is it a phone? Is it a phone call? Is it another Zoom meeting? Is it a send a proposal? Is it a site visit? What typically happens next for you? Pre-design that, and get your follow-up plan in place in advance. When someone clicks on that contact us and enters, what are you going to do? Have that ready to go. When you're in those meetings, just ask the visitor, how would you like us to follow up? What do you think would be the best way we can help you learn more. When a visitor collaborates on the next step, their commitment to it is more real. Move fast, right? And do what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to email this research report to them tomorrow, do it, right? Don't 3 days later. And as you follow up over time, value, right? You don't want every touch point with your audience to be about selling and revenue, right? Help them. Be the ongoing, the sustaining resource for them. And finally, on leads, don't stop short. Today, it takes an average of 12 touch points to convert a lead, okay? So don't stop short. So my final slide, and we'll go to Q&A. So your post-event visitor report is going to have all the people that visited your booth, all the people that did the chat with you, all the people that filled the contact us form. It's going to have all that. And that first report will come to you the week of April 26th. And then you'll get that second or final report the week of May 24th. So what are some of the metrics that you can run to assess how well you executed and where you got value? Well, number one for sure is how many people visited and how many did you interact with? See, there can be a difference between a visit and an interaction. They visit your booth, they watch your video, that's a visit. They visit your booth, they complete a contact us form, that's a different level. They visit your booth, they do a Zoom room meeting, that's another level. So track, how many people visited, who were those people, what were their relationship to our company, customer, prospect, suspect, media, dealer, distributor, student, whatever, I don't know. Second, your video meetings, take a deep dive on that. Who, how many, what was discussed, right? What were the outcomes of those meetings? What were the next steps that were identified? When you get into the economics of it, take your total event investment and divide it by the number of unique visitors. So TJ, what was the, I don't have it top of my mind, but what was the cost for the basic virtual booth?
$2,000.
Okay, so here we go. So if you invested $2,000 and you put another $2,000 in your promotion, $4,000, and you ended up with 50 unique visitors, 4,000 divided by 50, your cost per visitor was $80, 80. That's not much. The average cost of a trade show lead live is $283. The average cost of a field sales call is $1,114. You did it at IFMA's Facility Fusion for $80 per visitor. I think it's a pretty good deal, personally, right? Next, how many of those visitors created opportunities, leads for your company? So let's say I had 50 visitors and 25% of them turned into an opportunity. That would be 12.5. So I had 50 unique visitors. I had 12 and a half, 13 leads. What was my cost per lead? Well, take my 4,000, divide it by my 12.5 or 13, and it was about $320, right? Is it high? Is it low? Well, think about the potential revenue value of a single lead. Look at the lead and ask, if we can do business with these people, what is the potential value? So I paid $320. It's a $25,000 potential value. I'd call that a good ROI, right? What is the potential revenue value of your leads combined? If you captured 13 leads and your average unit of sale is $25,000, right? So 13 times 25,000, then you generated $325,000 of potential revenue for your company. Now, when I divide that by my $4,000 investment, that is an 81 to 1 soft dollar return on investment. Obviously, you want to track those lead conversions over time. And over time, you're going to want to look back, what revenue can you trace back? to the event investment. So I've covered a lot. How many of you here, go to your question queue right now and give me a yes if you got at least one killer idea. Go to your question queue right now and type, yeah, I got at least one. If you got three, if you got at least one per area, if you got 2 or 3 per area, go to your question queue, type that in. And speaking of questions, I'm going to open the queue now. And some of you, if you need to bounce, I apologize. We've gone right up to the wire here on content. I knew we had a lot of content in here. We did record the event. If you're jumping off and you're not going to stay for Q&A, please be sure to complete the survey. TJ, any closing thoughts for anybody who may jump off before we get into Q&A?
Just feel free to check out the facilityfusion.org website or reach out to expoadv@ifma.org with any questions. And we'll be following up with everybody after the event. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. So let me take a look in the question queue. So we're not getting overrun here. Let's see, Jackie added in, she said that before description was boring in all caps. I'm with you, Jackie. That was a very boring description. That second one had a lot more sizzle. Someone asked, is the CTA, the call to action, really meant to get the contact's info to continue the discussion later? And they say we have products and services with long lead times that take multiple conversations. Yes, Michelle, that is the purpose of the call to action. It's really to capture their information and ideally get some form of engagement so you get that meeting of the minds, that clarity of the project or the problem, and that commitment to what happens next. Let's see. TJ, this question might be in your wheelhouse. It's saying, I was told by my contact that I would have 3 booth displays or PDFs and 1 video, and now you're saying it's 2 and 2. Which is it?
It is 2 and 2. So if there may have been some miscommunication there, I apologize, but it is 2 videos and 2 PDFs for each exhibitor.
2 videos and 2 PDFs. Thank you for the question, Ken. Let's see, next question. Is there a page or a file size limit on the PDFs? Is there any size limit on those? Or number?
No, as far as I know, there's no size limits. I'll double check that and then we can circle back to you directly. But as far as I know, there are no size restrictions on the PDF.
Okay, thank you. So we don't believe there's a size limit on the PDF. Oh, TJ, the show times, are they Eastern, those times, the 10 to 4 that we showed?
The times for the entire conference are in Central.
Central time, Chris, so the times were in Central time. Let's see, Jackie submitted, yeah, her big takeaway was she's gonna really go to work on her company description. Thank you, Jackie. Be sure to send that to me, be one of the first 5, and I'll review that for you at no cost, no obligation, just try to help. Let me see, next question. I'm doing about 85% of this and I haven't been able to get visitors. How can you force the attendee to visit? Well, here's the thing, Jackie. People are going to do things for their interests, not ours. It's important upon you to first and foremost have a value proposition showing that you clearly understand your target customer, their pain points, and that you can help them get from where they are today to where they want to be. So your value proposition is the absolute linchpin determining whether you get traffic or not. Now, the way to increase that, which you went to yesterday, I'm ready to pay someone to attend, right? To win a gift card. Yeah, hey, if a customer is worth so much to you, you got to be careful in the corporate world and the government world with anything that would be even close to being considered trying to buy somebody's time. But having a reward for responding. Remember I mentioned the pen and pencil set? I have used that at trade shows with C-level executives. And I've mailed in advance. Now, by the way, you get access to the pre-registered attendee mailing list. So Jackie, I might recommend that you go through that list and pick 10 to 25 pre-registered attendees that look like a perfect fit for you, and put together that value. Go spend some time, take a show me, you know me approach, and say, hey, pencil us in for 10 minutes and send them a letter of invitation with a request for appointment and a pen and pencil set that has your logo on the outside of the box. Make sure you have the person's name spelled correctly, and put the pencil in the box and leave the hole and say, hey, when you schedule and complete an appointment, I'll send you the pen. I've done that in shows, and I've had a 75% response on that type of a campaign. And that's pencil us in for 5 minutes. But remember, you want the reward for responding to be the secondary reason why they show up. I don't want you at my booth because you want a free pen. I want you at my booth because you have a problem that I can help you solve, or you have an opportunity I can help you seize. My reward is my, oh, by the way, as my way of saying thank you. So I hope that helps a little bit, Jackie, in terms of your, your reward strategy. Here's a question. What if I choose to use only one video? TJ, can they turn off one of those videos, or would they just have like a blank screen there?
It'll just show the one video that's displayed in the exhibitor form. You just include a link to the video, and then our grit people will upload whatever you send. So if it's just one, that's all that'll get uploaded.
Yeah, Ken, I would think carefully about why you would only want to use one. At a minimum, like, there's typically 2 stories that I think you'd want to tell. One of your videos might be your company story, which kind of answers the who you are, what you do, what you're known for, what makes you unique. The second one might be a little more detail about your specific product or services. And again, Ken, don't worry about high production, Hollywood. We're so used to today with cell phones and video, everybody's used to substance over style. It's the best phrase I can give you for that. So if you have a choice, Ken, to only use one, you could, but I would use 2 if at all possible. Jackie responded, she said, thank you so much for your input on all this. I love the pen and pencil idea, and I totally agree on the reward purpose. Thank you, Jackie. That means a lot to hear that kind of feedback. All right, that is all I'm seeing at questions. My brain is fried and my voice is almost gone. I hope you have enjoyed this time together. I know we covered a lot. We knew that coming in. We recorded it. You have a workbook. You will have access to the replay. Be sure to complete the survey. In closing, go get them. Have fun. Play to win. Play all out. Remember, out of sight is out of mind in business today, and customers have new problems. So those of you that are going, I don't know, I think I'll set this one out. I would give that a second thought. TJ, back to you for any closing thoughts or comments from IFMA.
Thank you, Jefferson. This is great information, so much information. I think we've all learned a little something. And just to reiterate, Facility Fusion, whether you choose to exhibit or you just want to come check it out, it will be next month, April 21 through 22nd. So check us out at facilityfusion.org.
All right, thanks everybody. This concludes our optimizing, driving, and engaging. Use what you learned. Top 5, email those company descriptions to me. I'll spin them for you, and I look forward to seeing you at IFMA's Facility Fusion. TJ, put me on for a virtual scout trip. I'd love to go on and visit some exhibitors' booths and see how well they execute.
Will do. Thanks, Jefferson.
You got it. Have a good day, everybody. It's been an honor being with you. Take care.